first arc is, of course, Romance Dawn. Actually, I tried to watch Romance Dawn about 2 years ago. I downloaded the first episode twice, but I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. If it was the animation, the old style of animation, or whatever. But do not pick offense, but I actually watched the One Piece live action, the first season. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people like it. It's just a mixed thing. But for me, I liked it. It had a lot of good, but it also came with the bad. So I just take everything together. Now I've watched the anime. I also know the difference between the anime and the live action and how they work. So the Romance Dawn arc was covered in the live action up until I think it's only Romance Dawn that was covered in the live action, which is actually funny. Just like Romance Dawn, it had the whole stuff with Usopp, Luffy rescuing Zoro, Usopp and his girl and meeting Nami, and the whole formation of the Straw Hats. And to be honest, it's alright. It's a very soft introduction to the series. For me, Romance Dawn is a good arc. It's a slow start, but it's a good arc. It's okay. It's like I give it a 6 over 10. 6 is too low. 7 over 10. 7 over 10. And then what arc would I call after Romance Dawn? That would be Arlong Park. The live action covered up until Arlong Park. So yeah, everything was all together. So everything from Romance Dawn, going forward down to Arlong Park was alright to me. I think the live action kind of sped things up, cut the arc with Don Krieg, I think. So, but watching the anime, Don Krieg doesn't really have, he's not referenced. He's only referenced once. So I don't think the live action people just thought, this character is not really relevant. Looking on to the other characters in the other acts, they are very important going forward for the characters and for the story. But I saw Don Krieg's arc and we're like, they just give it to me, Hawk. But overall, from Romance Dawn to Arlong Park, it was alright. Then we go to Luge Town. Is it Luge Town or Luge Town? Honestly, I can't even say it right. I don't know. So Luge Town, I think Luge Town was when I actually started to, feel the One Piece period. Maybe it's because I switched from the live action to the anime at this point. But it's from here I started to feel it. So the show has get to Luge Town, or I don't care, Luge Town, and that will be how the cross from there. They need to get to Luge Town, then the cross over the Grand Line to the other side, and fulfill their dream one step at a time. And then Luffy also fulfills his dream alongside his crew and tries to become the king of the pirates, yada yada yada. But Luge Town was a very good arc. In fact, I give Luge Town an 8 over 10. It was very nice. I love the atmosphere of it, very gloomy. Roger was, when the revelation that Roger was, killed in Luge Town, and Smoker's introduction, then Dragon's introduction, a bunch of cool stuff just happens in Luge Town. Luge Town is like this, the calm before the storm. It's like this soft introduction that things are getting serious. Unlike the other characters like Alvida and Boogie, that they're important in the story, but not as much as Dragon or can I say Smoker? Smoker is alright. Yeah, Smoker is alright. And then the girl of Luch Town. What do I like about Luch Town? I said, like I said, the atmosphere. I like the atmosphere of Luch Town. I like the introduction of the characters. Is there anything I didn't like about Luch Town? No, there's nothing I didn't like about Luch Town. Luch Town was alright. I loved their escape. I loved the dragon helped them escape. And yeah, it was really cool. I like the fact that, Luffy actually met an opponent that he could not, punch his way out of, or, like slingshot his way into the opponent, because Smoker had this strange ability you haven't seen in the anime up to that point. Everybody's like physical in One Piece up until Smoker. And you'll be wondering, how will Luffy defeat this kind of guy? And let me not waste too much time here. It's like I said, it's over 10. Luch Town is alright. Then we go to after East Blue Saga, which contained from Romance Dawn to Luch Town. We go to Alabasta or Arabasta in some spellings. And it doesn't matter. So it starts with Reverse Mountain. Reverse. I think Reverse Mountain was the arc where they meet the whale. What's his name? Honestly, One Piece has so many characters, and I just tried to watch this in a year. I like One Piece, but who am I lying to? I can't cram all these characters' names in my head. I have so much stuff to do. The whale and the old man that lives in the well, and it was a very well introduction. An old man that lives in the well, and the well having like this fixed sky and structures, and it was really nice. I think what was the whale's name again? How can I forget that whale? Now I'm going to spend how many seconds just looking for a name of a whale. What is the whale at the Grand Line? What is the whale at the Grand Line? Yay, Laboon. Yeah, my boy Laboon. How could I forget his name? It's very important to another character, one of the Straw Hats going forward. Yeah, Laboon. Laboon was a real nigga. But let's keep going forward. So after Reverse Mountain is Whiskey Peak. Okay, what I like about Reverse Mountain was simple, nothing too much. You just build up to Whiskey Peak. So you just take, I think I won't waste too much time on the small acts and just read the sagas as a whole. So Whiskey Peak was alright. The fight with Zoro and the those guys they were trying to trap them. What did they even call them again? Oh God. How am I? I'm not trying to look back, and the fight was really cool. All the Straw Hats were out, and Zoro and Luffy took them out. It was really nice. It's really nice. I really like Whiskey Peak. Then they met the princess, and they had to take her back to her town, her place, or whatever, and she was infiltrating Big Croc's operation. And then we go to Little Garden. No, Little Garden is a very nice arc. I think one of the most, should I say, important going forward, because it introduces us to giants in the world of One Piece. So, it's actually important. And then we get to see these two characters that are referenced on multiple points in the story. I won't go into details, so I won't spoil too much. Or maybe I've just forgotten details. I don't care. I do care, but I'm so tired right now. So Little Garden, we got to see, you know, more of the, not the explosive booger guy. God, how can I forget all these people's names? And then the other girl with the clones, that could paint clones. I can I? And then was it number one? Or, no, I think number three. Number three, that he could like create candles and stuff. His powers were really cool. I don't know, but this is actually important going forward in One Piece, because Luffy actually beats this guy again. And it's funny how this guy was a threat back then, but going forward, nah, the guy didn't. Yeah, nothing he can do to stop Luffy, of course, because Luffy had like grown in abilities and stuff. But yeah, Reverse Mountain, 7/10. Whiskey Peak, yeah, 7/10. 7/10 is like, for me, it's good, so right, not mid, like 6.5, and not great, like 8, 9, 10. So Little Garden was an 8. I really liked Little Garden. What I don't like about it? Nothing. I loved it. And Drum Island. Oh, Drum Island. Yeah, I have to give this a 10/10. I loved Drum Island. The introduction of Chopper. Oh my god. Chopper and his backstory. It really hit me. And Dr. Was it Dr. Harune? Dr. Harune. I can't, how am I forgetting all this? Uh, overall, Drum Island, the fight for their freedom to defeat that bitch ass nigga Wapo. Yeah, it was really solid. Luffy raising the flag. That hit me, man. Some solid stuff. The whole arc was solid. I loved every bit of it. It was a time and Luffy climbing the mountain. It was so raw. It was. I'm just glazing. I'm glazing, man. I think that was the point where I actually began to admire Luffy as a character. Luffy in Drum Island. The thing is, Arabasta arc is another solid arc. Wait, I didn't even finish Drum Island. Drum Island, it holds a special place in my heart. For the introduction of Chopper, the whole story, the battle for freedom, everything in the arc was freaking solid. And I give it a 10/10. I'm not even lying. Then we now go to Alabasta or Arabasta, however you want to pronounce it or call it. Very good arc, very solid villains. The introduction of Robin as number 2 was really nice. Was she number 2 or number 4? You know what? I don't even care. So the whole arc, the villains were nice. The struggle was nice. Crocodile being the second villain Luffy couldn't beat with punches. So at the ending of the arc, Luffy had to do something that was not really, really nice. You know, most anime MCs that are like this dumb MC, these anime protagonists are like this simple, loving, dumb protagonists. You know, the lovable idiots. Most times they just punch their way out of the problem. But Luffy had to use water because that was the only way he could hit Crocodile, who could like turn into sand thanks to Devil Fruit. And when he ran out of water, he was using his own blood to like. That was really crazy, and I really liked Arabasta arc from the start to the end. The story of the rebels, the pirates, even the introduction of those small little guys that Luffy was training. Everything on Arabasta arc was solid, and it's one of those arcs I really miss the dynamic of the Straw Hats. When they were much smaller, and even the number doesn't even matter when each of them had something to do. I really love that in Arabasta arc. I give Arabasta arc a 9/10. Not as emotional or as important to me as Drum Island, but it's good. 9/10 is good. Then we go to Sky Island. So there's Jaya Arc, which is like this very short introduction to Skypiea. Jaya Arc is it's kind of forgettable, kind of, but it introduces the audience to Doflamingo as this businessman, this shady businessman. No, not much is shown or told about him. Just that. So the little we know about Doflamingo, yeah, I'll just take it or leave it. And then you see Luffy's fight with what's the name of that spring guy again? I don't even care for all these characters, these extra characters. I think his name was Bellamy. Yeah, Bellamy. Bellamy, yeah. But I remember, yeah, he's when Luffy was begging the Flamingo to spare his life. I remember Bellamy. Luffy kept screaming that guy's name like 10 or 15 times. How could I forget Bellamy? So back to Skypiea. Jaya is just a short introduction. They introduce you to the guy who saw the gold on Jaya and his descendants who knew where Skypiea was. And Luffy gets to Skypiea, and funny enough, I heard a lot of people actually skip Skypiea, which is weird because I'm somewhat of a completionist. Once I start something, I like to finish it. And I feel if you finish it, like people that skip JoJo part, I'm confused. How do you expect to understand the next part going forward, or the next part after that part, if you skip the part between them? It doesn't make any sense. So, Skypiea is a really nice arc. You see the people, you're introduced to Enel. I think that is like the soft introduction of Haki self. Haki, the ability, is just given a different name. What was the name? Anyway, I've forgotten. Man, I watched like that whole arc around March. I was just speed running it. I was on the high of One Piece after experiencing Drum Island. I just couldn't stop. So Skypiea, solid arc. I loved the villains. I loved Enel was a solid villain and he was crazy. That's what I really liked about Enel. Enel wasn't just crazy, like psychopathic crazy, like Joker or whatever. He was willing to do whatever it takes because to him he was a god and everyone was beneath him, despite him being a regular human. And Skypiea is really good. It's very important to the story. You see Luffy use his abilities in his stretchiness in a new light. Not like he's in the gear or something, but very solid use of his abilities in that arc. I really like it. And as usual, early One Piece, every Straw Hat had a role to play. And that arc you start to see Robin being properly integrated into the Straw Hat. And then going forward, it was Skypiea is good. The whole Sky Island saga is an 8/10. Skypiea, Jaya is like 7. Skypiea is like 9. So it's really good. 9. And Water 7. Water 7. What? Oh, I remember what happened in Water 7. Long Ring Long Land. Long Ring Long Island. Yeah, that was very forgettable, at least to me. And the caricature just threw me off, but Long Ring Long did something that was actually fun. The whole game where you switch pirates and stuff. It was a nice stuff, but I feel that Oda just did it as a filler. Because Long Ring Long is not like the whole game they do there. I've forgotten what that game is even called. It's not mentioned again, nothing like that, even as a joke, nothing. That would be very important in the story going forward if they actually did it. But yeah, I guess Oda forgot. Long is like 6 for me. I didn't care much for it. And then Water 7. Water 7, it felt very odd when they introduced everything. Just going slow, but Water 7, man, it was actually crazy. The introduction of, what do they call those guys again? Those One Piece CIA buddies. What do they call them again? Oh God, what do they call them? I know the name of these guys, but how can I even forget it? Water 7 villains. The 7 villains, yeah. Cypher Pool number 9, CP9. Yeah, yes. And then their leader was Rob Lucy, yeah, the leopard guy. Bro was actually a menace because how could they stop this guy? I was wondering how Luffy would stop this guy because this guy was whooping Luffy. I've come to the point that I believe Luffy survived that whole fight because of the plot. With the whole introduction of G5, he's able to stop the other Cypher Pool member with the horns. And Water 7 also introduces us to Frankie and his friends and mermaids and Cypher Pool and also Robin and List. They give you a little bit of just crumbs on Robin's backstory, but not everything yet. And then I think they were controlled by Spada, that crazy guy that was after Robin. That guy was pissing me off. Like, I'm surprised in the context of like the show or the manga, he's still alive. Like, how did he survive his spine being cracked in half? I don't understand. But everybody was crazy, was moving crazy in Water 7. They were not playing, they came with all the smoke. Even that giraffe guy was tough. What was that his name again? Kaku. Yeah, Kaku. Kaku was tough. Well, I really like Water 7. Everybody had to lock in. The whole conspiracy and them hiding there. It was really nice. Water 7 saga ends with Enies Lobby and post Enies Lobby. These few episodes are like just cover the events after Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby, apart from the fights against CP9, everybody giving it their all, and man, the scene with the straw hat at the top of Enies Lobby raising the flag, oof, and then they were raising the flag, was lined up, and then Luffy tells Usopp to shoot down that flag. Oh man, you can't feel sauce like that in post-time skip One Piece. They got too big for that. Like it was like this. It's like watching all these animes with the delinquents now, and then they just you're seeing this anime character in this show that just goes crazy, and then he just does something random, even though he knows he can't win this fight. He just gives it his all. That was how the whole scene was. He literally announced war against the government to save his friend, and it was really nice. I liked the arc. The complete destruction, or should I even say early retirement of Spandam and his spine. I enjoyed that very much. Overall, Ennis Lobby was a 10 over 10 arc for me. I liked it. And after Ennis Lobby covering ending the Water 7 saga, was Thriller Bark. I think most people don't like Thriller Bark like that. But me, I do. I also want to add, Water 7 introduces Luffy's ability of Gear 2 and Gear 3. Unlike Gear 3, unlike Gear 2, Gear 3 is not really a transformation. As Gear 2, Luffy like pumps up his blood and like increases his speed and his attacks and stuff. He bounces around at very high speeds, and the whole ordeal. And then his skin turns red and he's smoking and stuff. Very iconic. Luffy's first gear. And then Gear 3, he just blows air into his hand or his leg, and then he hits things with extra force. It's very, I can't even call it a transformation. Yeah, but that's that. So Thriller Bark Saga or Thriller Bark Arc. Yeah, so 6 over 10. The arc isn't bad. It's just mid. Like, it's not bad. It's like 4 down. It's just like terribly mid. You don't really feel much, but it introduces Big Mom's daughter. It introduces one of the warlords as the villain. What was that his name again? The guy with the egg-shaped head that was really big. God, I've forgotten his name. That could absorb shadows. Man, One Piece has so many characters. I can't even keep up with all of them. Do I have to go browse this guy's name? You know what? I don't even care. Thriller Bark was 6 over 10. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. And I'm not going to dwell on it moving forward. And we go to the real deal. The Paramount War or the Summit War saga. Starting with Sabaody Archipelago. The Straw Hats arrive at Sabaody Archipelago, and they want to go down to the New World, Fishman Island, but they weren't ready, and they got their ass beat badly. So Sabaody Archipelago is a very unique arc. I don't think we ever see that in One Piece because it served its purpose. It was to show that the Straw Hats were not ready for the next part of the story, and the way they did that was crazy. You thought that everybody else was going permanently, and Leaf was left, and then he was crying his powerlessness, and then Kuma drifts him somewhere else. And Sabaody Archipelago is a 10 over 10 for me. I feel it was very well executed. The timing and everything was very well done. I believe after Romance Dawn, One Piece just kicks into hyperdrive. It doesn't lag. It just keeps going forward like really fast. And I really like that. It just moves really fast. It doesn't even slow down. They don't waste too much time on no unnecessary stuff. It just goes real fast. And then I'm here at Sabaody Archipelago. And then Amazon Lily is after that. You get the introduction of Boa Hancock and the Amazons, and all of them. And Luffy becomes friends with them, and man, Luffy finds out his brother Ace, which we are introduced to back in Alabasta saga. It turns out he's in danger, and he has been beaten to an inch of his life, and so let me not spoil it too much. And if you don't want to listen to any spoiler by mistake, just you can just quit the video now. So after Amazon, Luffy heads to Impel Down to go find his brother. Impel Down is a prison that has like different stages and stuff. Luffy sneaks in with the help of Hancock, who is one of the within 5 or 9 warlords. 7, I think it was 7 warlords. 7 warlords. Oh God, how many warlords are there? Man, One Piece warlords. One Piece warlords. One Piece warlords. How many warlords are there in One Piece? The 7 warlords. Yeah, I was right. 7 warlords. We're introduced to Jinbei, who is very important going forward in One Piece. One of the 7 warlords, he's a fisherman, and Luffy is shown to not have any bias against fishermen and people of other races, and he's really surprised, and he allows Luffy to get really close to him, and he promises Luffy will help him rescue his brother. Luffy meets Boogie in there alongside number 3 from Crocodile's old crew. They also free Crocodile, and most of the criminals from Impel Down escape with Luffy, and they head down to Marineford. Somebody on Archipelago 10 over 10. Amazon Lily, no, 8 over 10. It's alright. It's really good. Nothing special, but it's alright. Impel Down, yeah, 9 over 10. And Marineford, how, man, where do I even start? This, when you describe something as the highest peak of, like, the medium, Marineford might just be it. I don't want to spend too much time on the video, so I'll make the video too long, but Marineford is very important in One Piece. We were introduced to Whitebeard, Shanks, all these important characters in the previous acts. They're just introduced, they don't really dwell on it, and we now see Whitebeard and his crew pull up to save Ace, as Ace was one of the members of the commanders in Whitebeard's crew. I mean, we see a full-on war between pirates, a high-ranking pirate, one of the emperors, and the Marines, and it is a bloodbath. So many pirates die, so many Marines die, and even Kobe crashes out. It's just a wild thing that happens. The arc is really good. I'm not even going to lie. Luffy gives his all to rescue his brother, and at the end of the day, brother sacrifices himself in a tragic way. And man, that really broke me, because when they went into the backstory of, man, his brothers, that really broke me, because when they later going into the backstory of Luffy and his brother, you just realize that Ace was really messed up. Like, he thought he didn't deserve to live because Roger had been executed, and because of the propaganda by the Marines, he believed that Roger was this kind of devilish figure and stuff. And he bothered, can someone like this give birth to someone like me, and I'm going to be good? And if that is so, why don't I just end it all now, so I don't end up like this? But I like that Garp gave me the advice to do whatever I wanted, no matter how it led him to. And most people try to misinterpret Garp. Of course, there's slander for Garp, which I am here for. I'm here for the slander for Garp, but you can't blame Garp. Garp gave his grandchildren the right to do whatever they wanted, and they chose what they wanted, and he's not going to be biased because of that. Garp is example of a good person that is obedient to a bad system. They are part of the system, and to them they're just like cogs in the wheel. They don't see them as important in the grand scheme of things, but they are, because they are enforcers of that very system. And I think that's one of the things I like about the whole revolution, the past into Roger's interaction with Garp, and backstory of Luffy and his brothers, and everything is just solid. Like Marineford, post Marineford, you can't replicate that sauce without build up. So, man, it's a I can't rank it an 11 over 10. If I could, I would rank it an 11 over 10. But for now, 10 over 10, like solid 10 over 10. So after the whole war, Luffy tweaks out, his brother is killed. I can understand. That's one of the most understandable crash outs I ever seen in the whole show. Like Luffy straight up loses his shit in the battlefield. He just blanks out. His mind just goes. His mind just shuts down, and Jinbei has to like rescue him out, and they have to clear the path for like the other have to clear the path for Luffy to escape, because the trauma, like, he couldn't believe his brother was just off in front of him, and so it was a very crazy scene. That's what one of the things I really liked about the ending of Marineford. Luffy couldn't do jack shit because he was just like a 15-year-old in the midst of well-trained 30-year-olds. What is he going to do? What much is he going to do? Those people, they had the experience, they had the talent, and they actually even introduces us to Haki. But since at least my headcanon is that since Luffy did not learn how to use Haki, we couldn't really see Haki. So yeah, that's my headcanon. So yeah, it even introduces us to Haki, but it doesn't really go into the details of Haki or how it works. And so yeah, after the war, Luffy decides to stay back and train with Rayleigh, who are introduced to in Sabaody. One of Rayleigh was Goldie Rogers' second in command. Yeah, his right hand man, and she trains Luffy on how to use Haki, the 3 types of Haki, and Luffy tells his friends through the news, through some signing, that they should meet in 2 years' time. And yeah, that's how the first part of One Piece concludes. Really nice. I love the arcs. I love the slow build up to everything. I really love how Luffy can be very tactical at times. Like, even Thriller Bark, I really like how the Straw Hats in their joyful, uglyful foolishness were able to, have tact in defeating the weird monsters of Thriller Bark. Like, so many things about early One Piece is so good, because those are the things that stick to your mind. Apart from everything going full on war, Emperor this, Emperor that, early One Piece just let everything settle in. They go to this new, completely different place, one after another. Like, they're just completely different. One place is bigger, the next place is smaller, in terms of scale or in terms of size or whatever. Everything is not just big going forward, big. But I think that's just part of the introduction. You can't just slam this whole big stuff on everybody. Yeah, spend too much time. Well, the first half of One Piece is a 10 over 10. I really love the first half. And with the conclusion of the first half of One Piece, we go into the new world with Fishman Island Saga. The crew returns to Sabaody and they find out they have some impersonators, which they don't really do much. The biggest problem, with the Straw Hats returning to Sabudi Island after being separated by Kuma in Sabudi Island Sabudi Archipelago. The problem is that they kind of get this, hack and slash, easy solution type stuff to everything. I do not enjoy that one bit. Luffy, of course, Luffy is a punchy guy. He just punches things, but then he has his tact to it. But going forward from return to Sabodi, Luffy just punches things strong. He doesn't even have to have tact with whatever he's doing. He has the power, he has the haki, and haki. Haki just, if you have haki, you just glide into everything. Nothing can stop you. Like a train moving through buildings, you're just destroying everything in your path. High speed train. So yeah. Usopp gets this every solution plant that or seeds from this island, that almost every seed, or let me just say, he has a seed for everything. And Nami, she just shocks everything. She can still use her Mirage or whatever, but as far as I'm in, where I'm in, she just gets her new and improved stuff, which was from the start that was destroyed before, and so she can still do the Mirage. So maybe just I'm not caught up to it, but since she wasn't with the staff at the beginning, just felt like a very rough introduction to her character, and also with his everything seeds. And we also came back, but Zoro was never my. I'm not a Zoro guy. I'm a Sanji guy. So yeah, I mean the anime does Sanji a lot of wrong, but I really like his character when he's not love eye and everything and running after. He's a very solid character when they don't try to overdo his character traits. And who else? My boy Chopper, he learned to master his abilities and he advanced in medical studies, which was real nice. He went to medical school. And who else? Robin. What did Robin even do in the time skip? I don't even know. If it was even, I think she can generate big sizes and stuff. I think I've seen some clips. Like she can use her limbs to like make bigger limbs. But I think she couldn't do that before. Yeah, she couldn't do that before. But where I am in the anime right now, I haven't seen her done that. I haven't seen her do that. So still feels odd to me. I still feel like she has a lot lacking. And who else is on the squad that I'm forgetting? Who? Jinbe didn't join at the time. Brook became a rich musician. Yeah, cool. And Frankie, man. Frankie just locked in with the lab and the factories where he was in. Frankie upgraded his body like crazy. So I think Frankie is like, apart from Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, the monster trio that solves all the problems, Frankie has to be one of the most dangerous members of the Straw Hat, if I'm to be honest, because she's just crazy. Even if he can't use haki, the enhancements he got from the blueprint and everything, and the equipment, the resources from the island he was in, with what do you call that smart guy again? The guy in Egghead, that looks like Einstein, that developed like half the tech in one piece. I keep forgetting that his name. Something punk. Something. God. what, why am I forgetting this right now? Egghead scientists, One Piece, yes, yeah, Dr. Vegapunk, yes. I was not, it was coming to me that something punk, but no, I don't really remember. So yeah, with Vegapunk's blueprint and everything, he was able to build himself into a bigger, badder cyborg. And so we now go to Dressrosa Saga. We start with Punk Hazard, we see Caesar and him experimenting on kids and making drugs for the Flamingo, and we see the Flamingo's whole connections and everything. And Punk Hazard, let me start with Punk Hazard. Okay, I need to rate Return to Sabudi. Return to Sabudi is like 7 out of 10. Fishman Island. I need to dwell on Fishman Island. Oh my god. Fishman Island. How did I feel about Fishman Island? The villain was very mid, but I understood the themes of the story and the message it was trying to tell, and not building up a particular area or not focusing in a particular area, and the place eventually devolves into a slum, into a place where crime thrives, and you now blame the individuals that live in that area for the crime that is there, when you would have solved that problem by focusing on the area. And I really love the message it was trying to tell, actually. And I give it an 8 over 10 for that, for the message of the arc. Give it an 8 over 10. And Punk Hazard, like some of the other weaker One Piece arcs, its problem is that it's mid. It's the villain Caesar, he's also mid. My biggest problem with the arc is how they treat the female samurai, Smoker's lieutenant. What was that her name? Forgotten her name. Oh my god, they had Zoro saving her like 5 or 6 times. Smoker's lieutenant. One Piece. Was that? Captain Tashi. Oh man, Oda did her dirty. Like, it was always like he was trying to prove that she ain't shit next to Zoro, and it was kind of tragic to just watch the whole stuff play out. And it's one of the most, should I say, annoying things about Punk Hazard. But I like the resolution of the arc and the Flamingo's crew coming to check over and all that. And the saving of the children, everything. The arc was just there. Then we go to Dressrosa, the whole chaos, and we see the insanity of the Flamingo. Don Quixote the Flamingo. How he had an obsession with taking down everything with him, and he had his faithful believers alongside him. Man, she was quite a villain, if not my best villain from One Piece so far. So this guy, I forgot to say, looking back at Marineford, this is I'm talking about villains. Fuck Akainu. Yeah, I said it. Fuck Akainu. And back to the present. The Flamingo. Man, looking back at his backstory with his father. His father was an idiot for what he did anyway. But it cost him his family, honestly, and his own life. And it completely changed his 2 sons, Corazon and the Flamingo. And I really felt bad for Corazon, man. I really felt bad for Corazon. He didn't have to go like that. And I also felt bad for Law, looking back at his backstory. His town got wiped out, Corazon got wiped out, and Everything was just crazy. But in all honesty, the Flamingo had to go. The arc was solid, everything was solid. Oh, all hell God is so. It was really cool. I really love the organization of the other characters in One Piece, the wacky abilities shown during the tournament. But what was that knight self? The knight with the one leg that was a nutcracker, his daughter. They forgot about him. I keep forgetting that her name. That kept shouting. What's that Luffy's fake name again? When he was wearing the beard. No, I don't even care. But her design was just terrible. Design was terrible for like a 16-year-old. It was terrible, and I really like the introduction of the fact they revealed that Luffy's second brother has been alive all along. It's really nice. Sabo, and I see my boy Sabo back locked in, and the fact that he acquired the his other brothers double fruit. It came full circle, and yeah, the fact that he went to go work with Luffy's dad was also a very nice touch. And then Dressrosa is a nice arc. It also introduces us to Gear 4 Bounce Man. It's really nice. I love the fights against the Flamingo and Luffy, as well as the other characters. Like, everybody had something to do, even Rooster Head. Oh man, Rooster Head. Bro was glazing Luffy like crazy. But bro was glazing all the Straw Hats like crazy. But everybody was doing alright. I really loved Dressrosa. When they got serious and they were running around in circles, hearing their footsteps almost every episode, they're running around in circles. Oh my god. The beginning of Dressrosa was such a drag, but the ending of Dressrosa, they locked in. Like the second half of the series. Dressrosa, because of the awful first half, I give it 7 over 10. 7.5. And then Whole Cake Island Saga. I just finished Zoo. We're introduced to the Minks, and Sandy has been taken to meet his family for a marriage organized by Big Mom and his dad and all that. Zoak were introduced to the Minks, and their town on top of Zoo has been destroyed by one of Kaido's one of the emperors, one of Kaido's men, and yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Zo is alright. I really love the Straw Hats providing help to a random town. Like, they didn't even do much action in that arc. They just helped the people around. That's what I kind of like about Zo. So Zo is like an 8 over 10 for its purpose. I like that. And then now that I talk about the emperors, for to mention before the emperors pre-time skip were Whitebeard, Shanks, Big Mom, and Whitebeard, Shanks, Big Mom, and Kaido. But since Whitebeard was dead and his territory was taken over by Blackbeard, who betrayed him, it's the whole thing. Blackbeard is this scummy guy, and Blackbeard is also a solid villain. Like second best villain in One Piece. He is the, should I even say, antithesis to Luffy. While Luffy symbolizes freedom, and they're using that freedom for good. This, like, the positive version of freedom, doing whatever you want, nobody stopping you, exploring the world, saving people because you can. Blackbeard is the negative side of freedom, if I can put it that way. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. He's a pirate, he's an emperor, Now, after he took Blackbeard's territories and acquired, you know, his devil fruit alongside the darkness fruit, and he became so powerful. His crew is powerful. He has the men. He has the ships. Blackbeard. Overall, Blackbeard is a very solid villain. I like the. I like his character and his. Should I even say what he represents in the world of the pirates? And overall, that's why I stopped at Zoo. That's at the beginning of Whole Cake Island, so I can't review the whole of Whole Cake Island. So far, watching One Piece, I feel One Piece is very nice, but once you get to the time skip, you get to like return to Sabodi and Fishman Island, it starts to drag out. You can tell they drag out the arcs from Fishman Island to Dressrosa, Punk Hazard. There's random moments where simple things are like stretched out just to give multiple episodes, really long episodes. Maybe it's to allow the manga to have some distance from the anime, but it's done so bad. The multiple frames, the multiple face reactions, everything just slows down the anime so badly, and it kind of ruins the experience for someone that is like good at like binge watching or like speed watching or speed running something. It really messes with my viewing experience at least. But overall, the One Piece story is nice. I like the protagonist, I like the Straw Hats, I like the villains of One Piece. Most of them are good. I don't think One Piece has any bad villain per se. Even Boogie is a solid guy. Boogie is more like a comedic villain. He's not like a evil villain per se. One Piece has solid villains. It has solid main characters, even though the second half doesn't really focus on the characters, because I feel Oda established the characters in the first half and felt we had no need to establish the characters, but I feel he should work more on the dynamics. But who am I to judge? Who am I to speak and stuff like that? But overall, One Piece is a solid 8/10. One people always say One Piece is the greatest anime in the whole world. Fact is, I don't know about that. I don't think One Piece is the greatest anime in the whole world. I don't think it's Dragon Ball. I don't think it's Bleach either. I don't think it's Naruto either. I feel it all depends on whoever is watching. That anime is the greatest to you. I've watched all the shows: Naruto, Dragon Ball, Bleach. To be fair, my favorite is Bleach. And Bleach isn't all that either. One Piece has a better story than Bleach, but I feel its flaws are very noticeable, especially in its second half. And its bloated episode counts, the delays, the extra running scenes, everything just messes up with the whole show. But overall, the show is nice. Like I said, 8/10. It's worth the watch. If you're thinking about watching it, you can give it a try.